I'm just going to say it. Groups can be disappointing. In high school, there was always that one person, sometimes two, who didn't pull their weight on a group project. In college, there was extra work until the early hours when someone didn't come through on a group presentation. Then you get a job offer after college and you're like, great, here we go again. You land on a team with horrible communication skills and you work in communications. Okay, that last one is personal, but insert a team or project in your field and I know we can commiserate. All this to say that if you have a spouse or partner who has come out as transgender, finding support with a group, might be the last thing on your mind, but I promise you, there is a group for you if you give it a little time and effort. Welcome, listeners, to Straight Wife Trans Life. I'm Lisa, and in this episode, I want to talk about something a little bit more positive, finding your people, your group, to keep you grounded through the ups and downs as your partner transitions. If there was ever a time when you would benefit from a group that is going to just get it, to sit in the poop with you, so to speak, it is when your spouse or partner comes out as transgender. We find ourselves in this unique category of people, and maybe we're lucky enough to have friends or family who are willing to listen to us, or who are kind and ask questions, but it is a different level of support to get in deep with others who are going through the same messy scenario. These are known as peer-to-peer groups. They are not therapist-led. They are led by your fellow peers who are in a similar situation. And it might take time to find the right one. I'll list a few places to start looking in the episode description. And remember, you will need to be vetted. Privacy and confidentiality are a top priority to keeping the group safe. So I often describe the road to finding my most connected group, where everyone sort of feels really sincere and in tune with each other, as Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The first group I joined was a little bit too angry for me. The second group was a touch too unrelatable. And the third group, the one that I love, was just right. And I was introduced to this group through two other women who were each from the other groups that I'm in. And yes, you can be in more than one group. It is good to get various perspectives and help each other on this journey. You know, if you're in an angry group, maybe you just say, just lighten up a little bit, or just let people who are angry be angry. But I knew from my first Zoom call with this group that I love that it was the group for me. And it was just like this sense of relief washed over me. And, here was this group of women, and one man does occasionally show up, all with partners who are transitioning, all who are supportive, kind, smart, figuring things out. And they welcomed me so warmly. No judgment, no agendas, just solid people. But before I go further and just keep complimenting them, I want to make sure that you have a heads up about what to avoid in a support group. This is from my almost year and a half experience in groups, and if you look up pros and cons to support groups, you'll find similar thoughts. Because I did look up to see if I could maybe offer you some new information that I didn't have, but it really is similar. So, avoid groups where one person is constantly taking over the conversation, or it feels like the discussion is being overrun with negativity or some kind of agenda. You want to feel like everyone is getting a fair chance to talk about their situation, or if they're dealing with a struggle or celebrating a success that month. Even my spouse, who is in groups with other transgender people, stopped going to one group where a person just always took over the conversation. It just no longer felt worth her time to be part of something that didn't feel inclusive. So this applies to any group. And I would also say that you want to avoid groups where it feels like there is no confidentiality or respect, that your discussion stays within the group. Your meetings should feel like a safe space where you can open up. And I'll mention situations and experiences here, but I never ever share specifics. Respect, trust, and privacy are vital to a good group. And in general, right? Sometimes we want to make sure that we feel like we're with friends who will keep, our stories or something that is bothering us to themselves. And this one almost goes without saying, but avoid groups where it feels like inappropriate or misinformed statements are being made. If something doesn't feel right, just find a different group or stay within the group, the overall group, in the discussions, but just skip the meetings. You don't need to attend meetings that leave you feeling worse than when you started. Okay, so back to how a solid group should feel. I've been in this group that I adore for about a year, and all of the meetings are held via Zoom, and it is led by a kind, wise, wonderful woman, and we're spread out geographically. So we're spread out between Canada and the United States, and we meet once a month on this Zoom call. And I look forward to it so much. I do a lot of nodding and agreement, and I also sometimes try to hide my tears when someone is sharing something important. It can be, something unfortunate, or it can be a success. But it always recalibrates me and it re-energizes me. And I now sound like I'm a car going in for a tune-up. So last weekend, one of the women in the group opened up her home to us, and 6 of us were able to make it to this opportunity to meet each other in person. So there were 7 of us all together. And I'm telling you, it was amazing. If you can find a local group where you can maybe meet in person, it's wonderful. And, even if it's Zoom is wonderful as well. And I have to say, I'm almost grateful that my spouse came out so that I could be part of this group, the entire group, regardless of whether they were able to make it in person or not. And each person I met last weekend is smart, kind, helpful, honest, and open. Just joy to be around. And some of us had already endured difficult upbringings before we were even married. Some of us are talented gardeners and know how to knit beautiful pieces of clothing. Some of us can make a mean margarita and cook up this beautiful meal for a group. And many of us are parents. But here's the common thread among this group, and something that I hope might be important for you to find in a group, which is empathy. All of us are making sure that we don't lose ourselves as our partners transition, but we have empathy for the situation. We have heart. We have love for our spouses or partners, even if we are separated. And we understand that we didn't sign up for this, but being transgender isn't a choice. It's something that I feel like I repeat a lot. So one morning, still in our pajamas, with coffee or tea in hand and homemade breakfast items and fruit to nibble on, this group of 7 ended up gathering around a kitchen island for hours. And it was the best time and conversation I've had in a long time. It just naturally evolved. And this is why I'm encouraging you to find a group, especially the right group. You can talk openly about your situation with honesty, without judgment. And a great group will offer you feedback. You will talk about resources. You will feel validated. That's really important. You'll feel less lonely, more secure, and ready to just keep going. Talking out loud might help you realize something that you've been feeling, but you couldn't quite come to terms with just yet. And you will laugh. You will cry. You will lift each other up. You will become friends. You will have people you can lean on and who can lean on you. It was a weekend to remember. I really love that I've found this community where it just feels like we're in different situations, but it's the same, and we have this sort of desire to support each other. And it's very important when you're going through this. So for those of you who are newcomers to the club of transgender spouses or partners, or maybe you realize that a group doesn't sound so bad after all, find your people, find a group. It is a place where you can mourn, be upset, heal, evolve, and just shift, which is a natural thing that will happen along this journey. Okay? So until next time, your group is out there.